A journey through America's most haunted hotels nestled within the bustling heart of cities, perched atop serene landscapes, or hidden away in forgotten corners of small towns. America's most haunted hotels stand as eerie monuments to history, tragedy, and the supernatural. These are not just places where weary travelers lay their heads. They are living, breathing entities steeped in lore and mystery, where the past refuses to remain buried. Each creaking floorboard, flickering light, and shadowy figure tells a story, stories of love and loss, betrayal and vengeance, lives cut tragically short and spirits unable, or unwilling, to move on. To step through the doors of one of these hotels is to enter a realm where reality blurs into legend, where the mundane gives way to the macabre, and where every guest risks becoming part of the haunting themselves. The allure of haunted hotels lies not only in their spectral inhabitants but also in their rich tapestry of history. Many were built during eras now lost to time, the roaring 1920s, the Gilded Age, or even earlier, and served as gathering places for society's elite. Lavish ballrooms once echoed with laughter and music, opulent suites housed presidents and celebrities, and grand lobbies welcomed visitors from all walks of life. Yet behind their gilded facades lie darker chapters, murders committed in secret chambers, suicides that left indelible marks on staircases, disappearances never solved, and fires that consumed both lives and dreams. These events have etched themselves into the very fabric of the buildings, creating an atmosphere ripe for paranormal activity. Take, for instance, the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, a name synonymous with ghostly encounters thanks largely to its role as inspiration for Stephen King's The Shining. Built in 1909 by Freeland Oscar Stanley, this sprawling Georgian revival masterpiece has long been whispered about among locals and guests alike. Its infamous Room 217 is said to be haunted by Elizabeth Wilson, a housekeeper who survived a gas explosion there in the early 20th century. Visitors report seeing her apparition tidying up the room, rearranging furniture, or folding linens late at night. Others describe hearing children giggling in empty hallways or feeling icy hands brushing against their skin while walking down dimly lit corridors. Even those who visit without any expectation of encountering the supernatural often leave shaken, convinced they've crossed paths with something otherworldly. Then there's the Crescent Hotel and Spa in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, whose checkered past includes stints as a luxury resort, a school for girls, and even a fraudulent cancer hospital run by Norman Baker in the 1930s. Today, it stands as one of the most paranormally active hotels in the country. Guests recount chilling experiences such as waking up to find shadowy figures standing at the foot of their beds or witnessing translucent forms gliding silently through walls. One particularly unsettling tale involves a bride who vanished shortly after checking in, leaving behind nothing but her wedding dress draped eerily over a chair. Paranormal investigators flock to the Crescent year-round, armed with cameras, EMF detectors, and EVP recorders, hoping to capture definitive proof of its haunted reputation. Their findings frequently include disembodied voices whispering cryptic messages, orbs floating inexplicably in photographs, and thermal readings that plummet without explanation. Further east, we find the Omni Parker House in Boston, Massachusetts, a historic landmark dating back to 1855. Known for hosting literary giants like Charles Dickens and serving as the birthplace of Boston cream pie, the hotel's elegant facade conceals tales of tragedy and despair. Staff members speak of Room 303, which is rumored to be haunted by a former guest who took his own life inside. Those brave enough to stay in the room report hearing faint sobbing emanating from the walls or catching glimpses of a man pacing anxiously near the window. In addition to individual hauntings, the hotel itself seems alive with energy. Elevators operate independently despite being switched off, chandeliers sway gently when no breeze is present, and phantom footsteps echo through otherwise deserted hallways. It's as if the building itself breathes, sighs, and mourns alongside its spectral residents. In New Orleans, a city already renowned for its connection to the supernatural, the Bourbon Orleans Hotel adds another layer of intrigue to the French Quarter's haunted legacy. Once home to a convent and later a ballroom known as the Orleans Ballroom, the hotel harbors countless stories of unexplained phenomena. Some claim to see nuns still patrolling the halls in full habit, ensuring order among unseen congregants. Others report hearing the unmistakable sound of waltzes drifting from nowhere, accompanied by the clinking of glasses and muffled conversation. Perhaps most disturbing are accounts of children playing hide-and-seek in areas closed off to the public, their laughter ringing out before vanishing into silence. Staff attribute these occurrences to the yellow fever epidemic of the 1800s, which claimed hundreds of lives within the building's walls, leaving behind restless souls searching for peace. These examples barely scratch the surface of America's haunted hotel landscape. From coast to coast, each property offers its own unique blend of history, folklore, and paranormal activity. Whether you're drawn to the faded grandeur of Victorian-era mansions, the Art Deco elegance of mid-century high-rises, or the rustic charm of roadside motels, haunted hotels promise an experience unlike any other. As we delve deeper into their shadowy corridors and storied pasts, prepare yourself for a journey into darkness, one that will challenge your perceptions, ignite your imagination, and perhaps leave you questioning whether the shadows truly hold more than meets the eye. Exploring these sites, we aim not only to recount their chilling tales but also to understand why they captivate us so deeply. What is it about these places that stirs our primal fears while simultaneously fueling our insatiable curiosity? Is it the weight of history pressing down upon them, or do they serve as portals to realms beyond our comprehension? Whatever the answer may be, one thing is certain: America's haunted hotels are more than mere backdrops for ghost stories. They are living, breathing entities that demand attention and respect. So, as we step into their shadows, let us proceed with caution, for within their depths lie mysteries that defy explanation and forces that refuse to be ignored. Echoes of the past. Historical accounts of hauntings in America's most haunted hotels. The haunted reputation of America's most feared hotels is deeply rooted in their storied histories, each marked by significant events and individuals whose legacies linger in spectral form. These places are not merely relics of the past, they are living monuments to tragedy, loss, and unresolved anguish, serving as conduits for the restless spirits that haunt their grounds. Through centuries of documented phenomena, these sites have become synonymous with the supernatural, drawing researchers, thrill-seekers, and skeptics alike into their shadowy embrace. One such site is the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, a place often described as equal parts beautiful and eerie. Established in 1909, the Stanley was originally envisioned as a luxurious retreat for the wealthy, offering breathtaking views of the Rocky Mountains and unparalleled amenities. However, its serene beauty belies a darker history filled with sorrow and untimely deaths. During its early years, the hotel gained infamy following a tragic gas explosion in room 217, which claimed the life of Elizabeth Wilson, a devoted housekeeper. Since then, reports emerged of ghostly apparitions wandering the halls, figures clad in period attire, children laughing in empty corridors, and even spectral musicians playing faint melodies in the grand ballroom. One of the most famous sightings involves Elizabeth herself, believed to be the spirit seen tidying up rooms or rearranging furniture late at night. Her presence is often accompanied by the scent of fresh linen, a phenomenon attributed to her dedication to cleanliness during life. These recurring apparitions have been corroborated by countless eyewitness accounts, solidifying the Stanley's status as one of America's most haunted hotels. Another location steeped in historical significance is the Crescent Hotel and Spa in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, a grand structure that stands as a testament to wealth and power in the Gilded Age. Built in 1886, the hotel became infamous following its transformation into a fraudulent cancer hospital under the dubious leadership of Norman Baker in the 1930s. Tales of neglect, abuse, and forced treatments paint a grim picture of life and death at the Crescent. Following its return to hospitality use, former employees and guests began reporting eerie occurrences within its decaying wards. Lights flicker erratically despite no electricity running through the building, while disembodied whispers seem to emanate from empty corridors. Perhaps most unsettling are the accounts of shadowy figures roaming the premises, their forms indistinct yet undeniably human-like. Some claim to have seen patients in tattered hospital gowns wandering aimlessly, while others describe encountering doctors still clad in lab coats, seemingly unaware that their time has passed. These sightings align with broader theories about residual hauntings, where traumatic events leave behind imprints of energy that replay like ghostly echoes. For those who dare to explore the Crescent's ruins, the experience is nothing short of harrowing, a visceral reminder of the suffering endured by those confined within its walls. Moving inland, we encounter the Omni Parker House in Boston, Massachusetts, once known as the largest mental institution in the world. Founded in 1855, the facility housed thousands of patients over its nearly 2-century-long operation, many of whom endured horrific conditions and inhumane treatment. Tales of neglect, abuse, and forced lobotomies paint a grim picture of life and death at Central State. Following its closure in 2010, former employees and trespassers began reporting eerie occurrences within its decaying wards. Lights flicker erratically despite no electricity running through the building, while disembodied whispers seem to emanate from empty corridors. Perhaps most unsettling are the accounts of shadowy figures roaming the premises, their forms indistinct yet undeniably human-like. Some claim to have seen patients in tattered hospital gowns wandering aimlessly, while others describe encountering doctors still clad in lab coats, seemingly unaware that their time has passed. These sightings align with broader theories about residual hauntings, where traumatic events leave behind imprints of energy that replay like ghostly echoes. For those who dare to explore Central State's ruins, the experience is nothing short of harrowing, a visceral reminder of the suffering endured by those confined within its walls. In Atlanta, the Goat Farm Arts Center occupies a sprawling industrial complex that dates back to the early 20th century. Originally a textile mill and later a dairy processing plant, the site fell into disrepair until artists transformed it into a creative hub. Yet beneath its bohemian exterior lies a history riddled with accidents, suicides, and unexplained disappearances. Workers during the mill era spoke of hearing footsteps in empty rooms and seeing apparitions of colleagues who had died on the job. Today, performers and visitors report strange sensations while rehearsing or attending events, cold drafts sweeping through warm spaces, sudden feelings of being watched, and equipment malfunctioning without explanation. In one particularly chilling incident, a security guard claimed to have been chased by an invisible entity through the labyrinthine tunnels beneath the center. His account, supported by footage showing anomalous movements caught on surveillance cameras, adds weight to the belief that the goat farm harbors malevolent forces unwilling to release their grip on the land. Finally, we turn to the old Talbot Hotel in Douglasville, a modest establishment with a macabre past. Built in the 1920s, the hotel quickly gained notoriety after a series of grisly murders occurred within its walls. The victims' bodies were discovered in various states of dismemberment, leading investigators to suspect foul play involving satanic rituals. Though the case remains unsolved, rumors persist that the perpetrators summoned demonic entities during their acts of violence, leaving behind a curse that continues to plague the area. Current occupants of the building, which now serves as apartments, describe hearing guttural growls emanating from vacant units and witnessing shadowy figures darting across hallways. Pets refuse to enter certain areas, and residents report waking up to find claw marks on their furniture or doors scratched from the inside. Attempts to cleanse the property using religious ceremonies have reportedly failed, suggesting that whatever dark presence inhabits the old Talbot Hotel cannot, or will not, be banished. Each of these locations contributes to Georgia's haunted legacy in unique ways, yet they share common threads: tragic histories, unexplained phenomena, and a pervasive sense of unease that permeates their environments. Together, they form a mosaic of despair and unrest, painting a picture of a state where the past refuses to remain buried. Whether viewed as residual energy trapped within physical structures or intelligent entities seeking acknowledgement of their suffering, the spirits of Georgia's haunted places demand attention. They serve as reminders of the complex and often painful history that shaped these iconic sites, ensuring that their legacies remain forever intertwined with tales of the supernatural. As we peel back the layers of time, the true extent of Georgia's haunting influence begins to emerge, a testament to the enduring power of memory and the indomitable nature of the human spirit, even in death. First-hand testimonies of hauntings in America's most feared hotels to truly grasp the spectral essence of America's haunted hotels. One must listen to the voices of those who have walked their dimly lit corridors and stood beneath their shadowy eaves. These first-hand accounts are not mere anecdotes but vivid, unfiltered recollections that bring the legends to life. Each story reveals not only the chilling experiences endured by guests but also the profound emotional toll exacted by the supernatural presence that seems to linger in every corner of these places. One such witness is Emily Carter, a freelance journalist who ventured into the eerie confines of the Stanley Hotel in search of inspiration for a feature article. What began as a casual exploration quickly turned into an encounter that would haunt her for years. "I was photographing the infamous room 217 when I felt it, a cold hand gripping my wrist," she recalls, her voice trembling with the weight of memory. "I spun around, but there was no one there." Emily describes the sensation as unmistakably physical, a firm pressure that left her skin tingling. "It wasn't aggressive, but it felt deliberate, like someone, or something, wanted me to know it was there." Later that evening, while reviewing photos taken during her visit, she discovered a blurred figure standing behind her in several shots. The image, grainy yet unmistakably humanoid, sent shivers down her spine. "I've seen plenty of ghost photos before, but this felt different. It felt personal." Another harrowing tale comes from James Monroe, a history professor who brought a group of students to the Crescent Hotel for a weekend seminar. On the second night, James decided to conduct a solo investigation of the old hospital wing, drawn by rumors of fraudulent treatments and patient mistreatment. "At first, it was just faint sobs, soft, almost melodic," he recounts. "But then it grew louder, more urgent, like the sound of someone in deep distress." As he moved deeper into the space, the sobbing abruptly stopped, replaced by an oppressive silence. That's when he saw her, a young woman in tattered clothing standing in the corner, her hollow eyes fixed on him. She wasn't solid, she flickered, like static on an old TV screen, but she was definitely there. James attempted to call out, but his voice caught in his throat. Instead, he fled the hospital wing, heart pounding, only to find scratches on his arms that hadn't been there earlier. "I don't know what happened in there, but whatever it was, it didn't want me sticking around." For others, the hauntings manifest in ways that are less overt but equally unsettling. Sarah Bennett, a tour guide who has worked at the Omni Parker House for nearly a decade, shares a story that underscores the psychological strain of prolonged exposure to its supernatural activity. "Most nights I can handle it, the creaks, the shadows, the feeling of being watched," she says. "But one evening, I stayed late to finish organizing some archives. As I was leaving, I heard footsteps behind me. Slow, deliberate steps, like someone was following me out. She turned to see nothing but empty hallways stretching into darkness. I locked the doors and went home, thinking it was just my imagination. But when I got to my car, I realized my keys were missing. I searched everywhere, retraced my steps, you name it. Nothing. The next morning, I found them lying on the front porch of the hotel, exactly where I'd parked my car." Sarah pauses, her expression uneasy. "No one could have placed them there without me noticing. No one." These personal testimonies reveal a pattern of consistency that defies easy dismissal. Many witnesses report symptoms akin to post-traumatic stress disorder, recurring nightmares, heightened anxiety, and a persistent sense of dread. Psychologists who have studied these accounts suggest that these places may amplify latent fears, turning them into overwhelming sensations of unease. Others propose that the environment itself, its labyrinthine corridors, dim lighting, and pervasive stillness, creates conditions ripe for hallucinations or dissociative states. Yet, even these explanations fall short of accounting for the tangible evidence accompanying many of the encounters. Scratches on skin, inexplicable injuries, and objects moved or damaged without explanation all point to forces beyond the mind's ability to conjure. What emerges from these first-hand narratives is a portrait of places where the veil between worlds is perilously thin. Visitors describe feelings of suffocation, as though the air itself presses against them, making it hard to breathe. Others recount moments of paralysis, unable to move despite every instinct screaming to flee. These experiences are not fleeting, they linger, embedding themselves in the psyche of those who endure them. Even skeptics admit that something unusual happens within these locations, something that challenges conventional notions of reality. Common themes and recurring phenomena across America's haunted hotels. The haunting phenomena associated with America's most feared hotels are as diverse as they are unsettling, yet amidst the chaos of individual experiences, certain recurring themes and patterns begin to emerge. These consistencies offer a tantalizing glimpse into the nature of the malevolent energy that permeates these sites, suggesting that its manifestations are not random but instead follow a discernible logic. By analyzing these patterns, we can piece together a clearer, if still incomplete, picture of the forces at play within these enigmatic landmarks. Point one of the most prevalent themes is the sensation of being watched. Nearly every account from visitors to these haunted hotels includes descriptions of an oppressive, unshakable feeling that unseen eyes are fixed upon them. This sense of surveillance is often accompanied by physical symptoms such as chills, goosebumps, or a tightening in the chest, as though the weight of the site's gaze is pressing down. What makes this phenomenon particularly intriguing is its universality. It transcends age, gender, and cultural background, affecting even those who enter with no prior belief in the supernatural. Some researchers speculate that this pervasive feeling might be linked to the unique architecture and geography of these places, where narrow hallways, strategically placed mirrors, or dense foliage create environments conducive to paranoia. However, the intensity and specificity of the sensation, often described as directed and purposeful, suggests something more deliberate at work. Another striking pattern is the prevalence of auditory disturbances. Visitors frequently report hearing disembodied voices, whispers, or indistinct murmurs emanating from walls, empty rooms, or the surrounding landscape. These sounds are typically soft and intermittent, growing louder and more intelligible as one ventures deeper into the site. Interestingly, the voices seem to adapt to the listener's proximity, as though responding to their presence. Some claim to hear their names called in tones ranging from pleading to menacing, while others describe incomprehensible phrases spoken in languages they do not recognize. Attempts to capture these vocalizations on recording devices have yielded mixed results. While some EVP sessions produce clear, albeit cryptic, messages, others result in garbled noise or complete silence. This inconsistency raises questions about whether the sounds originate externally or are somehow generated within the minds of those who hear them. Visual phenomena constitute a third major theme, with shadowy figures and apparitions being among the most commonly reported sightings. Witnesses describe encountering humanoid silhouettes that move erratically through the corridors, forests, or fields, often vanishing when approached. These figures are typically described as featureless, their forms blurred or shifting, as though they exist on the cusp of visibility. In some cases, visitors have reported seeing fully formed apparitions, including women in tattered clothing, soldiers in old-fashioned uniforms, and children wandering aimlessly. The recurrence of these specific archetypes hints at a connection to the site's storied past, perhaps reflecting residual energies tied to historical events or tragedies. Alternatively, these visions could represent attempts by the unseen inhabitants to communicate, or intimidate, the living. Equally significant is the occurrence of physical interactions, which blur the boundary between subjective experience and objective reality. Many visitors recount instances of being touched, pushed, or grabbed by invisible hands. These tactile sensations are often accompanied by visible marks, such as scratches, bruises, or burns, appearing on the skin without apparent cause. Such incidents add a visceral dimension to the haunting reputation of these sites, forcing witnesses to confront the possibility that whatever dwells within them is not merely passive but actively engaged with its surroundings. The consistency of these reports challenges purely psychological explanations, suggesting that these locations exert a tangible influence over those who enter their domain. The influence of America's haunted hotels on media and popular culture. The haunting allure of America's most feared hotels has transcended their geographical boundaries, embedding themselves deeply into global folklore and popular culture. These storied sites, steeped in eerie tales and supernatural occurrences, have become fertile grounds for artistic expression and storytelling across various media platforms. From literature and film to television and digital content, the mystique of America's haunted hotels has inspired creators worldwide, shaping narratives that resonate with audiences hungry for the macabre and the mysterious. In literature, America's haunted hotels have served as backdrops for numerous novels and short stories that weave their chilling atmospheres into plots filled with suspense and terror. Authors have capitalized on the site's reputations, crafting narratives where the boundaries between the real and the supernatural blur, drawing readers into worlds where every creak of floorboards or rustle of leaves could herald an encounter with the unknown. These literary works often highlight the psychological impact of these locations on characters, mirroring the real-life testimonials of those who ventured into their depths. The haunted hotels thus become not just settings, but characters in their own right, influencing the actions and fates of those who dare to enter. Film and television have similarly embraced the haunting essence of America's hotels, bringing their ghostly tales to life on screen. Documentaries exploring the mysteries of these sites have gained popularity, offering viewers glimpses into the eerie happenings through interviews with locals and experts, alongside footage of the location's shadowy landscapes. Feature films and TV series have dramatized their legends, using cinematic techniques to amplify the suspense and fear associated with the locales. Directors and producers exploit the visual and auditory elements intrinsic to these places, such as dense fog, whispering winds, and decrepit structures, to create palpable senses of dread that captivate audiences. Moreover, the digital age has expanded the reach of America's haunted hotels, with online platforms becoming conduits for spreading their haunting tales globally. Social media and blogs buzz with posts from enthusiasts and skeptics alike, sharing personal accounts, research findings, and speculative theories about the paranormal activities of these locations. YouTube, in particular, hosts a plethora of videos ranging from amateur explorations to professionally produced documentaries, each adding a layer to the digital folklore of these sites. Podcasts dedicated to the paranormal frequently feature episodes on America's haunted hotels, dissecting their histories and hauntings, thereby engaging listeners in detailed discussions that further entrench these location statuses in contemporary horror culture. The influence of America's haunted hotels extends beyond entertainment, impacting tourism and local economies. The notorious reputations of these locations attract thrill seekers and paranormal investigators from around the globe, eager to experience their chilling ambiences firsthand. Local businesses capitalize on this influx, offering guided tours, themed accommodations, and merchandise centered around the eerie allure of these places. This economic boost underscores the symbiotic relationship between cultural fascination and commercial exploitation, where the haunted legacy of these hotels fuels industries catering to the curious and the courageous. The psychological and emotional impact of hauntings in America's most feared hotels. The psychological and emotional aftermath of encountering the supernatural within America's most haunted hotels is as profound as it is enduring. The testimonies of those who have braved their depths reveal a complex web of reactions, ranging from acute fear and paranoia to long-term psychological distress. These locations, with their eerie whispers and shadowy figures, do not merely unsettle their visitors momentarily. They leave an indelible mark on their psyche, altering perceptions and instilling a pervasive sense of dread that lingers long after they have left their confines. Immediate psychological responses to the hauntings are often characterized by intense fear and anxiety. Visitors frequently recount a paralyzing sense of terror that grips them upon hearing disembodied voices or witnessing inexplicable movements in the shadows. This fear is compounded by the oppressive atmosphere of these places, where labyrinthine corridors, dimly lit rooms, and dense forests seem to conspire to trap the unwary. The resultant claustrophobia and heightened alertness can trigger fight-or-flight responses, leading to panic attacks and erratic behavior. Such acute stress reactions are not uncommon in environments perceived as threatening, yet the specificity and intensity of these responses in America's haunted hotels suggest a deeper, more sinister influence at play. The impact extends beyond individual sufferers to affect interpersonal relationships and social dynamics. Those who return from these haunted hotels often find themselves isolated, as friends and family struggle to comprehend their experiences. The skepticism and disbelief encountered can exacerbate feelings of alienation and mistrust, pushing individuals further into solitude. Moreover, the stigma attached to claiming supernatural encounters can deter victims from seeking help, leaving them to grapple with their trauma in silence. This isolation can deepen depression and anxiety, creating a vicious cycle that is difficult to break. Furthermore, the psychological scars inflicted by the hauntings can alter an individual's worldview and beliefs. Confronted with phenomena that defy logical explanation, many visitors undergo a crisis of faith or belief system. Some develop a heightened awareness of the supernatural, becoming convinced of the existence of otherworldly forces. Others, however, retreat into skepticism, questioning the reliability of their senses and memories. This cognitive dissonance can lead to existential crises, as individuals wrestle with the implications of their experiences on their understanding of reality. The emotional resonance of the hauntings also taps into universal fears and primal instincts. These hotels' ability to evoke such strong reactions speaks to their mastery in exploiting basic human anxieties: fear of the unknown, fear of death, and fear of losing control. By confronting visitors with situations that challenge their perceptions and safety, these sites tap into deep-seated fears that are hardwired into the human psyche. This manipulation of innate fears not only heightens the immediate terror experienced but also ensures that the memory of the encounter remains etched in the mind, resurfacing during moments of stress or vulnerability. In essence, the psychological and emotional impact of the hauntings in America's most feared hotels is a testament to their formidable power over the human mind. They are not merely places of physical danger but crucibles of psychological torment, where the boundaries between fear and reality blur. These places prey on the vulnerabilities of those who dare to enter, leaving them scarred and shaken, their lives forever altered by the shadows that linger in their depths. As each story unfolds, the true extent of their influence becomes increasingly apparent, underscoring their status as loci of terror that continue to haunt both mind and soul. Reflecting on the undying mystique of America's haunted hotels as we draw this exploration of America's most haunted hotels to a close, it becomes evident that these sites stand as paradoxical beacons of terror and fascination. Their haunting legacy is not merely a collection of ghost stories or urban legends. Rather, they embody the quintessential human intrigue with the supernatural and the unknown. America's haunted hotels, with their storied past and spectral present, invite us to peer into the abyss of mystery, challenging our perceptions and stirring our deepest curiosities. The significance of these haunted hotels extends beyond their reputation as eerie locales. They are living testaments to the enduring power of mystery in an era dominated by science and reason. Despite centuries of investigation and countless first-hand accounts, these sites steadfastly refuse to divulge their secrets. Their resistance to explanation is not a failure of human ingenuity, but a poignant reminder of the vastness of the unknown that still envelopes us. In a world where answers are often prized above questions, America's haunted hotels dare us to embrace uncertainty, to sit with discomfort and acknowledge that some enigmas may never be solved. This, perhaps, is their greatest gift, the invitation to wonder, to imagine, and to confront the limits of our understanding. Yet, these haunted hotels' allure is not merely intellectual. They tap into something far more visceral, a deep-seated human yearning to connect with the unseen, the forbidden, and the extraordinary. The chilling phenomena, whispers, shadows, and inexplicable occurrences, speak directly to the part of us that craves transcendence, that longs to pierce the veil between worlds. For many, venturing into these haunted hotels is not an act of bravery or recklessness but a pilgrimage of sorts, a journey into the heart of darkness that mirrors the internal landscapes of fear and longing we all carry within us. They are places where the mundane dissolves, leaving only raw emotion and the stark confrontation with forces beyond our control. What makes these haunted hotels truly remarkable, however, is not their capacity to terrify but their ability to unite. Across cultures, languages, and generations, their stories resonate because they speak to universal themes: the fragility of human perception, the inevitability of fear, and the unyielding quest for meaning. Whether through whispered legends passed down by Southern storytellers or viral videos shared by modern thrill-seekers, these sites' influence transcends borders, binding disparate individuals in a shared experience of awe and trepidation. In doing so, they remind us that fear, though isolating in its immediacy, is ultimately a collective human condition, one that connects us to each other as much as it separates us from the comfort of certainty. As we step away from the shadowed corridors and desolate landscapes of America's haunted hotels, let us carry with us not just the chill of their hauntings but the questions they inspire. What lies beyond the edge of our understanding? What truths might we uncover if we dare to look closer at the things that frighten us? And perhaps most importantly, what does it mean to be human in a world where mystery still holds dominion? These haunted hotels do not provide answers, nor should they. Their value lies in their ability to provoke thought, to stir emotions, and to remind us that the unknown is not something to be conquered but something to be respected, and, at times, cherished. So, whether you approach America's haunted hotels as a skeptic, a believer, or simply a curious observer, remember this: their shadows are not just figments of folklore or tricks of the mind. They are reflections of ourselves, our fears, our hopes, and our endless desire to peer into the abyss. And in that act of looking, we find not monsters, but mirrors.